Well, I'm stuck at home today. I'm waiting on a consultation with a doctor regarding the gallbladder, and I'm waiting on a delivery as well. So looks like we're going to have to be making another pottering around the house video. Oh, I still haven't been able to give up the coffee. I've gone to decaf. I don't do caffeinated coffee anymore, but I still look forward to that little ritual first thing in the morning, where I just get the kettle on, well, get the coffee machine on. That's got decaffeinated beans in it at the moment, and I just love that, the smell and the ritual, just enough to get me started off, fired up for the day. Now, weather-wise, it actually looks okay, not too bad today. Got a bit of blue sky up there, and here's some blue sky in case you don't know what it looks like. We tend to forget what blue sky looks like, us Brits, particularly over the winter months. We just get this dark, dank greyness, and it can be quite depressing at times. But it makes us really look forward to the spring, when all of a sudden the sun comes out and we start to see some warmth. That's really nice. It's about 2 degrees at the moment. So sorry, I'm not going to go into weatherman mode, pull out my map. But I'm going to, well, I've got my washing on. It's going to be a sunny day, which is, I tend to leave my washing days until sunny days. Because the solar panels then end up running the washing machine, so it doesn't cost me anything. So my cunning little plan there, and it does seem to work really well. But yes, it's going to be sunny. There are some clouds, but it's going to be sunny. So that's taking care of the running the washing machine, and later on the tumble dryer. Now, if it's sunny, I might put the clothes out on the washing line for a few hours, but they never get fully dry in the winter time. So but it does dry out a lot of it, and then you put it in the tumble dryer and you only have to use it for half the time. So that's me penny pinching on the electric. Right, I thought I would switch over to the wireless mic, and might make recording the sound a little bit easier. I'm going to have another coffee. How rebellious of me. Just going to put these beans into the hopper. I actually need to dial them in, because that cup of coffee I made earlier, it was a little bit on the runny side. I think I've got the grind size too big, so I'm going to drop it down a few notches. So I've got to measure the amount of coffee that's going in. I want 18 grams, so let's weigh that off, tear it off, and then we'll do a 14-second grind. Right, let's see what we've got here. That's 16.1 grams, so we need an extra couple of seconds. Let's try that. That's it, 18 grams. So that's 14, 15, 15.5, there we go. And let's just give that a little fork through, and then we'll get that tamped down. There we go, that's the tamping done. We'll pop the little protector on. This protects the machine from getting coffee up on the strainer there. So what we're looking for, let's get a decent cup. So I'm going to take that scale, drop that off there, and tear it off, and then we're going to go for a 25 to 30 second pour, and we want 36 grams. Oops, change the unit to grams. Yeah, that's coming out too fast. See, we're at 36 grams already, and that's only 16 seconds. So I've got to make the grind a lot smaller. That's way too sour. So we're on a grind size of 5. I'm going to drop that right down to 1. There we go, 18 exactly. So that was 2.5 and 1.5. So 2.5, 3.5, 4. So that's 15.5, 16.5, 17.5, 18.5, 19.5 seconds. There we go. So the next grind will be 19.5 seconds. And that should give me my 18 grams. And we'll drop this on the scale once again. And see how we do here. So we're looking at a 36 gram pour within 25 to 30 seconds. There we go. So that's a 36 gram pour in 30 seconds. So that's just at the higher end of spot on. So I'm just going to dial that grind size back to 2 and then job done. Let's taste this. Spot on. That's exactly right. So it's not too sour, not too bitter, it's right in the middle. And that is how you get a really decent cup of coffee, even though I'm using decaf beans. Now I was going to do a little bit of a diet update because a number of you have been asking in the comments about what are you eating right now, because obviously you're not doing the daily carnivore diet vlogs. So I thought I would have a little chat about where we're going at the moment. Right, as you know, I was doing the carnivore diet for 72 days until my gallbladder started aching, and so I decided to put everything on hold, try to figure out what's going on with the gallbladder, what I need to do. I've actually got a consultation with the doc today, so we're going to go and discuss the future of it, or if it has a future, we will see. But in the meanwhile, I've done a huge, deep dive on the whole idea of the carnivore diet, eating low carbohydrates, high fat, protein, to try to find out exactly where I stand. And I found out loads. I've learned loads. The carnivore diet works really well for a lot of people who have a really good functioning digestive system. That does seem to be the takeaway that many of us have got. However, what is not talked about, which should be talked about a lot more than it is people who do not have a particularly well functioning digestive system, and I count myself among that group of people. Now, the carnivore diet helped me immensely for the first 2 months, but then problems started showing up, and obviously in the way of the gallbladder. But also, when you look into the carnivore diet long term, there are certain implications that need to be taken into account based on the individual. And this once again boils back down to that whole one size fits all thing. If you think there is this one size fits all way of doing things, then I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. So you have to cut your cloth according to your needs and how this is going to work out for you. Anyway, long story short, what I've learned I need to do at this particular time where I'm trying to sort of nurse an ailing gallbladder through a low carb, high fat diet is I've got to dial things back. So I've dialed back to what some folk will call ketovore, which is kind of keto and carnivore. But I have introduced certain fats which the gallbladder can handle better. Because it's to do with the medium chain and the long chain triglycerides and the fatty acids and things like that. Now the gallbladder handles things like avocado oil and olive oil much better and much more easily than it can handle the pure animal fats. And so that's what I've done. I've dialed back to avocado oils, extra virgin olive oils. That's going to be my fat intake. That's my fat source. So I'm still doing high fat, but I'm using fats which my gallbladder can handle, but are still considered healthy. I've also introduced avocados because I do need some fibre. You've got to keep the digestive system working. Now, I know I was getting all giddy at one point because, you know, I hadn't pooped for like 4 or 5 days, and I was saying, oh, that's completely normal, that's completely normal. Well, I've educated myself a little bit further, and it's not necessarily a good thing, because you need to keep things moving because the body has to get rid of the waste. All of the interactions we have in our, you know, daily lives, you know, whether it's touching surfaces that are contaminated with whatever, it's the plastics and everything in our lives. This stuff all gets absorbed by the body, and your body has to, I mean, say for example in plastics, you've got like estrogen mimicking components, and high estrogen is one of the problems that causes gallbladder issues, which is interesting. But you have to keep things moving. The body has to be able to deal with, you know, all of these things, that these toxins and everything that is absorbing. It has to get rid of them. So I'm having just basically avocado and a tiny little bit of onion, red onion, and oddly enough, I've switched over my meats. I'm for the first time in my life, I'm enjoying liver. I used to absolutely detest liver, and I tried some the other day. Somebody suggested it's probably a good idea to have some liver because of all the nutrients in it. And I tried some liver, cooked it up with a little bit of onion in butter, and it was quite enjoyable. It was really strange. So I've actually got some more liver arriving today. I've got a Sainsbury's delivery coming. Yeah, so I'm basically doing, now I'm doing high fat still. I've dialed back on the protein. Now, too much protein can be problematic for some people. And so I've dialed back a little bit on the protein. So I'm basically doing liver, some beef, some lamb, but along with avocado. I'm also doing a little bit of dairy in the form of sour cream, which I put a tiny bit of mint sauce into to make up like this mint sauce. And I put that on a lot of things, and it makes things really quite edible, quite nice. And it's quite nice on the avocado. So yeah, I basically dialed back to this kind of keto carnivore arrangement, and things are settling down. So the gallbladder's really settled down now. It's just this very slight dull ache. It means I can stay in the ketogenic state, which is exactly what I want, is how I thrive. So that's really good. I've also got some supplements that I've taken on. I'm still doing the taurine. I've gone back to the Tudka. I'm going to carry on with that. Apparently it takes a little while to get things going. But the Tudka and the taurine and milk thistle, they all help to get the gallbladder up and running and moving again. Obviously the conversation with the doc today is going to determine the future direction for where we go with the gallbladder. Now, I know some people have said, just have the blimmin' thing out and be done with it. And I mean, that's all well and good, and that is an option. That is an option that's on the table. It's just a phone call away. However, I want to try to fix it if at all possible, simply because if I'm going to be adopting a high fat lifestyle, which seems to be the only thing that I can have, like low carb, high fat is the only thing I thrive on. It's the only thing that takes away the IBS. It's the only thing that lowers the anxiety. It's the only thing that makes me feel amazing and doesn't keep me overweight. Then that seems to be the way I need to move forward, which is like low carb, high fat. And if I'm doing a high fat diet, I kind of need a gallbladder. If I happen to have my gallbladder out, and then I happen to be one of those sort of 20% unfortunate people who cannot get engaged with high fats once they've had their gallbladder out, I'm going to be stuffed. I'm going to be absolutely in trouble because you can't put the gallbladder back. It's a one-way ticket. So there is a 20% chance that I may, if I have the gallbladder out, I may not be able to sustain a high fat diet. And I just, at this stage, I've spent like 20 plus years of my life having my life dictated to me by crippling IBS caused by, you know, my digestive system. I can't go back to that. There's no way I can go back to a situation where I don't know if I can leave the house or not because my digestive system is holding me to ransom again. I'm never going to go back to that. But like I say, if I have the gallbladder out, there is a percentage chance that that may end up being the case. So I'm going to try everything in my power to not have that happen. Obviously, right now, the only thing I want is to get a look at the gallbladder. I'm hoping I can arrange with the doc that's going to be calling me anytime now. I'm hoping I can arrange with them to get another scan. That's the only thing I'm interested in right now, is to get a look at the gallbladder, find out what's going on there. Now, 6 years ago I had a scan. I had a 17mm single stone in a thin-walled gallbladder, and I was quite happy to live with that, and I lived just fine with it. Obviously, if it's full of stones and there's the danger of those stones starting to come out and block the bile ducts, then yes, it's going to be a different story and I'll have to have the thing out. But if it's just a bit sluggish, if it's just you know, a bit grumpy because it hasn't been used much, and the bile is a little bit thick and a bit sludgy, I can fix that. That's what the supplements are for. It takes a bit of time, but if I can get the thing working again, it'll settle down and everything will be great, and I can stay in ketosis and we're all good. But obviously if it's diseased or infected or anything like that, then I have to take the other route and get the blooming thing out. But that's where I'm at the moment. So I'm basically doing Carnivore, doing really well on it, feel good on it. And I'm very, very comfortable with those decisions. Like I say, reintroducing certain plant-based things, like I say, the avocado oil. I mean, we all know avocado is really healthy, a good dose of like potassium and lots of vitamins in them, as well as like just enough fibre to keep things going, keep things moving along without overdoing it. And the rest of the time, it's obviously down to the meats as well. Still doing the meats. I haven't done steak for a while. I haven't got any steaks in stock now, but I haven't done any steaks. I've only done beef burgers, 100% beef, the homemade ones, and obviously still got the fish. Actually, I haven't touched fish for a little while, so I might have some fish today. We'll see. But that's where we stand on the diet. So it's all going really well. Now, the thing is, one of the things I have sort of learned more about this carnivore diet is there's this, how can I put it? There is a growing following for people doing the carnivore diet. There are these carnivore diet gurus out there, very, very good people, obviously setting out with the best of intentions, trying to help people. And anecdotally, there are many, many people that this way of eating is helping. But I came across this other YouTube person, and she is brilliant. She is so keyed up and clued in to the actual health and nutrition involved in doing low carb, high fat. And she's not a massive fan of like the pure carnivore diet. And she's one of the ones that has been advocating that there are so many people that have these problems. She talks a lot about having dodgy gallbladder, and how that affects people trying to do this way of eating. And she's the one that has worked out in a very very measured way, in a very scientific way, that, like, if you've got a dodgy gallbladder, you can dial back to Carnivore. You still need certain fibres, you still need certain oils. So you switch from the animal oils and the animal fats over to these, like the avocado and a little bit of olive oil, because the gallbladder handles it better. And it's, like I say, it's to do with she goes deep dives into the details about, you know, the molecular structure of it all and everything. It's way above my pay grade. But anyway, she's really good. I'm going to leave a link below to her channel. Her name is Stephanie Keto Person, I think. But well worth a look. And she's got a lot of good information there. Even though some people that are deeply rooted in the carnivore community may find her a little bit grating, because she kind of speaks outside of that, almost like religion. She speaks out slightly outside of the doctrine, even though she's a massive fan of like the ketogenic state. But what she did do was she opened my eyes a little bit to, it's not all plain sailing with the carnivore diet. It's not the fix-all of everything, but it's nearly it. But she, like I say, she adds in this nuance, which gives you a much more rounded approach. And she's well worth a listen if you're in the carnivore space. She just injects a little bit of common sense, especially looking at long term. And she looks so young as well. She's been doing this for a long time. She looks incredibly young, and she's older than me. She's like in the wrong side of 50. I think she's like 56 now. But she looks like she's like in her mid 40s, if that. But yeah, definitely worth having a listen to what she's got to say. Right, I've waffled on long enough. I was going to do some pottering around and some bits and bobs. Still going to make a video on minimalising and getting rid of clutter, and I still need to do that. But I think I'm going to do that in another video, and I'm just going to make this one a video dedicated to an update on the diet, because it's been quite intense and quite focused. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to sign off for this video, and then probably go and make another video, possibly today, and that will go up in a day or two. But once again, thanks for all the amazing comments that I've been getting on my previous videos. Lots of people seem to think I'm doing these daily video logs. They're not daily. I'm hoping to sort of get 3, maybe 4 out a week. But they do take a long time to make and edit. Editing takes forever. Don't get me wrong, I actually enjoy the editing. That's for me, that's where the creative process comes in. But obviously filming them and then editing them can take like a whole day. So, and I have a life outside of YouTube. So sometimes I'm not going to be sort of doing these on a massively regular scale, but I'm hoping to get certainly at least 2 a week. But maybe sort of 3 or 4. It all depends how I feel. I kind of roll with the mood. Sometimes I'm just really into making the videos, and other times just can't even think about picking up a camera. And that's just the way I go. That's the way I fly. So the videos will come along when they do. But that is it from me. So thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.